Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly greeted at the twilight's last gleaming, whose cross stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red flare bubbles bursting in air, came through the night, and our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we love you. We thank you for this day. We thank you for the great weather that we've had. Thank you for our speaker and for Camp ASCCA. And we thank you for the leadership of this Dothan Rotary Club. Blessed be the nourishment of our bodies and our bodies thy service. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Jason. All right, thank you very much, President Allen. Let's celebrate some birthdays and anniversaries today. I guess y'all noticed this thing about our buddy here, Greg, our fellow Rotarian. I hope somebody has something to say about that. He's got his walk going. But maybe is somebody going to come up and say something about that? About the fundraiser we're trying to do with Greg?
Yes.
Okay, good, good. Just want to make sure we don't miss that. So birthdays, let's celebrate. Danny Sharp on April 24th. Kelly Tyler on the 26th. She's not looking any older. I cannot say that about the other three. Mr. Leslie Bloomberg. Archie and I were trying to decide. He's April 28th. I think Leslie is going to be 93. If it's not, it's 94, but I think it's 93. And Keith McAnulty on May 3rd. Anniversary to celebrate. We got a pair on the 20th of April, Ben Sleeveless and Janie, Tim McCraney and Janet. And then Marcus Cannon and Tony on April 24th. And May 3rd, we got a pair. Jack, remember to get a gift. This is Jack Collier and Shirley, who had warning, and Brad Parrish and Heather on May 3rd. Hope you all have a great week. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Montieri.
Well, good morning. We're always happy to have guests and visiting Rotarians with us, and we have one guest with us today, the guest of Michael Maddox, and that is Mark Cruz. We're happy to have you, Mr. Cruz. Thank you for joining us.
Wow.
Can't ask it.
Wow.
Brad,
Wow.
Today we have 1,604 points. Our lucky number today is 324. 324.
Told you I was gonna do it.
Oh, you got it.
That's Lucky John Brown. $5,000. We'll try again next week. Thank you, John. John, 47. You have a moment? John's going to speak for this moment on North Department scholarship program.
Hey, turn your mic off. We can't hear you back here. Hey, Mike.
Thank you, President, for giving me just a couple of minutes. I just wanted to mention the Dorothy Hargett Scholarship. We're going to be hosting the recipients of the Dorothy Hargett Scholarship in May. I just wanted to publicly thank Lawrence for your efforts and work and working with the high students there and getting those applications in. I think we had 12 in total come in. So we'll be looking to have them over in May. We'll host several students in May and be giving those scholarship dollars out. It's unfortunate, but the remaining dollars that were in the scholarship fund were low enough that this will be the last time that we are going to be making the presentation for this particular scholarship. The dollars got low enough inside the fund where it did make sense from an expense standpoint, filing the tax return and the expenses associated with handling that. So we were asked to be the recipient of the remaining dollars in that fund. And so that's why we're going to be passing out 10 to 12 scholarships this year. We typically just do 1 or 2 every year, but this year we're going to be doing several. So we're glad to be able to do that. We did ask when we took the funds if we could keep the funds in our account, distribute the scholarship every year, but unfortunately, given the rules that were kind of set, we need to go ahead and distribute those dollars all in one single fiscal year. So just wanted to mention that to the club. If you have any questions, feel free to call me or catch me on the side if you have any questions on that. Just wanted to mention that to the club to let you know and what was going on with those funds. And hopefully next year we can raise funds in a different way and provide a scholarship, but it's good year. So thank y'all. I just want to get to that update. Thank you, President.
Thank you, John. Appreciate that update. Wes, we'll please go forward and talk to us. Let us know what's going on.
Alan, fix the mic before you're speaking into it. Alan, speak to the microphone so you're speaking into it. It's turned upside down, I think. There you go. You're speaking to the mic. Very good. Very good.
All right, next Monday is the day for the Purple Mickey Donuts, so we're gonna have them here. You need to pick them up before 10:30 in the morning. They should be here around 9 o'clock, between 9 and 10:30. If you're distributing them somewhere, pick them up here and take them wherever you want to. And then we're also having, where's Jason? You want to tell me anything about next week about the, we're gonna be meeting the Wiregrass Innovation Center?
Yes. Joseph Johnson at this time.
Okay. And what? Joseph?
Next week, everybody goes to the Innovation Center.
Yes.
You can park in the parking lot at the Innovation Center or the Civic Center parking lot. Get there as quick as you can at 12 or shortly before. They're gonna have box lunches, divide up into 2 groups. So one group will be going on the tour while one group eats, and the other group will go on the tour while the other group eats, so that the tours can be small enough to get all through the building.
Because of that, we're having to bring the donuts here, so we have better central location. So everybody needs to pick up donuts. We'll send out a reminder this week, Alan. Okay, we'll send out a reminder to everybody before 10:30 next Monday to pick up the donuts. Thanks. And by the way, we sold 319 dozens, so thank y'all.
For club. Bruce, you want to come forward? You left that school there.
Anybody that would walk 500 miles in 40 days deserves some kind of award or mental institution, one or the other. But Greg is doing it again. He had so much fun. You know, you go somewhere like Disney, where when you start to leave Disney World, you say, I'll never do it again. And you get back home and realize you actually had a good time, so you do it again. Well, Greg is doing it again, and we're going to recognize Greg by turning it into a fundraiser. We love to do that. And those 3 causes will be Camp ASCCA, it'll be the Rotary Foundation, and also the Miracle Field. So any monies we have will be split 3 ways there. Every day is a new adventure for Greg. And the email I got this morning, and you can find his journey on the club's Facebook page, and Mr. Rudd is keeping that up. Today's scenery can only be described as majestic. As we climbed the Pyrenees Mountains, the valleys below were full of fog, which looked like the ocean. Also, we took a detour to see the Virgin Mary statue. in a background of a sea of fog. Wild horses roam the fields, simply beautiful. So keep Greg in your prayers, and let's support him by those donations. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Also, there's flyers on the table.
Yeah, thank you. And immediately after this meeting for Camp ASCCA, we will be passing the hat. This is the hat, and it will be in the foyer as you're coming in. Anybody know what week this is? This is Administrative Assistants Week, Secretaries Week. Secretary's Day, we honor secretaries on Monday, Wednesday, the 22nd. We will not meet on the 22nd. Heather, if you will, please come forward a moment. Heather, on behalf of Dothan Rotary Club, thank you for all you do for us. And I will say for me personally, I really, really appreciate you. Thank you, Heather. At this point, I'd like to turn the program over to Mr. Terry Duffy. Here to introduce our speaker today.
It's okay, I'm gonna do this.
Yes.
I don't like sitting up there. But, anyway, this is Bob Rudder's program. And, the program, I'll tell you that up front, has been alluded to and mentioned a couple of times about Camp ASCCA. And I don't know if, Bob knew that I had a connection with it when he put the program together, but he asked me to do the introduction of our speaker. And it just so happened that I did have a connection, and I'll share with you. This camp has been around for 50 years. And maybe our speaker can correct me if I'm wrong on any of this data. But it opened in April of maybe 13th, 14th, 15th of 1976. That's 50 years ago. And at the time, I was at a radio station in the Auburn-Opelika area, and they were trying to raise funds. And they came to the station and said, can you give us any publicity or come up with any ways to raise funds? And of course, me being, I guess, on a different plane, I said, absolutely. And I was just sold on the idea of what they were trying to do. And we had a great fundraiser. I know they're going to pass a hat today. We should have got Archie to bring us a car out here and some sledgehammers, because that's exactly my idea. Being in the Auburn-Opelika area was to get a car placed out in front of the radio station that was on the main 4-lane. The hospital was across the street. And we let everybody come out and bang that car. The only thing it cost for every bang. And if I remember correctly, I think we had the windshield priced at $50. And you could do a side window, I think, for like 20. And the back window was a little less. It was 30 foot back. And headlights, we had headlights and the bumper. And so we just spent a weekend out there beating that car up and raised several $1,000s to go to Camp ASCCA. So I guess we should have brought a car today, Archie, and just beat it up out there in the parking lot. This group probably would have had a good time doing that. That's a great stress relief. But anyway, today, a little bit different introduction of our speaker. We'll get to that because Camp ASCCA, 230 acres. And remember it well because all that land up there at Jackson Gap, Lake Martin, was owned by Alabama Power Company. And this group really was going to put a lot into it. And so they really wanted to have a long-term situation of having this land. And so they were asking for long-term leases. But some of y'all knew this individual. I was lucky enough to know. Elmer Harris was the CEO of Alabama Power Company. And Mr. Harris wanted to do something long-term. So he really deterred from what they did at Lake Martin, and he said, I'll sell the land. And if I remember correctly, he sold all that 230 acres or so for $1 to make sure that Camp ASCCA could be there forever. I know older Rotarians know this, and we're gonna circle back around to that in a second. Older Rotarians, the newer Rotarians, you really don't know it. If you've never seen that facility, you should see it because it's something else. And it's a special thing that is recognized all over the nation as a very special place of what we do. So today on the program, I'm gonna ask you to do me a favor. You know, we look, but we really don't see. If you think about that, we look, but we really don't see because we're bombarded with so much information. And we hear, but we really don't listen. And we feel things emotionally, but we don't take them into our heart. So what I'm going to ask you today is our speaker speaks to us and talks about Camp ASCCA and goes through the details of it. I want you to get your emotions all ready to listen and to really see and to feel it in your heart. This club has a long heritage, and I'm sorry Jim Whaley's not here today because Jim was involved back in this day. Bob Rutter, of course, in the day. This has been a big, big part of their fundraising. Dothan Rotary Club. I mean, there are organizations all over the state, but our club. And one of the things that was pointed out to me, this ticket we buy every week for the drawing that we have, we used to do real well because there was a chance that you were going to walk out of there with half a pot. But, you know, due to the laws, lottery laws and everything, we want to be legal and do everything correct and everything. Now it's just all for the club. I mean, all for the Camp ASCCA. And so our ticket sales, and I'm guilty, but our ticket sales has fallen off. So, you know, I would like to ask everybody and challenge everybody, I'll do better myself. You know, there's that cup of coffee you can do without. You know, $5 or $6 cup of coffee or something that you could do without every week, or maybe just change that you get at the end of the week. You had a pocket full of change that we need to be buying those tickets every week to make sure that we're properly funding Camp ASCCA. Of course, there are other opportunities. I know that this year, I think your cost to fund somebody's what, $1,250, $1,260, is that right? $1,250 to do a camper, and I know some of us have, and some have shared that. But let me introduce our speaker. Our speaker today is Matt Rickman. He's the camp director of the Alabama Special Camp for Children and Adults, known as Camp ASCCA. It is an accessible, inclusive year-round facility that provides recreation and camping opportunities for children and also adults with intellectual and or physical disability or both. Camp ASCCA is known, as I had mentioned before, throughout the United States. Matt received his degree from the University of West Georgia in therapeutic recreation. He has over 27 years of camping experience working with people of all ages with various disabilities and has worked full-time at the camp since 1999. And he has been the camp director since 2004. His wife, Dana, also works at the camp as the director of development. Matt has been instrumental in the design and construction of several innovative camp facilities and has constructed various adaptive high and low rope courses and elements for Camp ASCCA. In 2003, Mr. Rickman received a merit award in therapeutic recreation from the Alabama Recreation and Parks Association. He's been presented at conferences for the National Recreation and Parks Association of Alabama and American Alliance for Health and Physical Education, numerous awards for the work that he has done. In 2014, he was selected to speak to the Beijing Sport University in China as one of the United States' foremost expert in recreation and camping for people with disabilities. Please make welcome Matt Rickman. Thank you.
Thank you for that introduction. I was impressed myself listening. Maybe sound better than I am, but I appreciate it. And Bob, thank you for inviting me to come to, this is my first time at Dothan Rotary. I believe my wife has spoken here several times, so you get a lesser version, and I apologize for that. But I'll do my best to tell you guys a little bit about Camp ASCCA. So just want to kind of tell you a little bit about our programs, kind of what we do. We have a short video that we can show you where you can kind of see basically a typical day at camp. And then we'll talk about kind of Rotary's involvement, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. But as we said, this is our 50th anniversary, and it actually, camp did start in April of 1976, so we're right at 50 years. ASCCA is an acronym for Alabama Special Camp for Children and Adults. And so basically, what does that mean? And basically what that means is that we serve people with disabilities. The emphasis on people. Disabilities is a far second. That's what we do. We serve people. We serve all ages. I tell people 8 to 87. Our oldest camper, unfortunately, he did pass away a couple of years ago. But he was 87 the last summer that he came to camp. So 8 to 87 is kind of our age range, and that's a pretty wide range. As far as disabilities go, we serve just about any disability that you can think of: intellectual disabilities, cognitive, physical disabilities, developmental disabilities. And so what does all that mean? And so basically the disabilities that we serve, autism, we do several autism family camps throughout the year. And then during the summer, we have lots of different campers with autism. Down syndrome would probably be the next most popular disability that we serve, I guess you could say. And we're starting to see a lot of diagnosis of Down syndrome and autism. I don't know what the uptick on that means, but they're great campers and we enjoy having them. So we feel blessed that we get to serve them. But we serve all disabilities: spina bifida, cerebral palsy, spinal cord injuries, head injuries. Basically, visual impairments, hearing impairments. Basically, if you can name a disability, we probably served it, and we're very lucky that we have that opportunity. Since we are at camp, most people think of summer camp. That's obviously our busiest time. That's our biggest program, and the video that I'll show you is kind of an excerpt from different weeks of the summer. But we are a year-round facility, so we do operate year-round. When I first started 27 years ago, I felt like we had a much longer off-season, which was kind of nice, get caught up on some maintenance and building things and doing things like that. And it's a good problem to have, but I feel like that off-season has really shrunk over the years. So we're busier and busier, and our staff are amazing. We have about 12 full-time staff, and then during the summer we'll hire about right around 60 college students that work for us during the summer. So it's an amazing staff to pull all those different programs off. But in that off season, we serve a lot of organizations that also serve people with disabilities. So we'll host camps. Different organizations might rent our facility, and we'll run the programs. And then we also host some of our own ASCCA weekends. We do a big Christmas weekend. We do a fun fish weekend in the spring. Actually, this upcoming weekend, we have what we call Rookie Camp, which is for first-time campers and their families to kind of introduce them to camp, kind of hook them, because it's a pretty big responsibility and a whole lot of trust for parents to be able to send their child to camp. And if you can imagine, if you had a child with a disability, and you're sending them off to basically strangers for a week, that's a big step, especially when you feel like, as a parent, you feel like you're probably the only person that knows how to take care of them, that knows when they make this face, it means this. Because many of our campers are nonverbal. And so again, it's a huge trust, and we're just blessed that we have I'm not going to put a great safety record, and that instills trust, and we've built that over 50 years. for families to trust to send them. So that's kind of what that rookie camp is about, is to introduce them and kind of hook them for camp. But during this time of year, we'll do a lot of weekend camps like that start on Friday and on Sunday. And then we'll do a lot of school groups and day camps during the week. We've got 3 special ed day camps this week with some of our local schools and different things like that. But we serve organizations, the Autism Society, Camp Sill Harris, which is kids with diabetes, Shepherd Spinal Center out of Atlanta, which is world renowned for spinal cord injuries and head injuries. We work with Alabama Head Injury Foundation, ARPA. In fact, your Dothan Parks and Recs, they bring a group to camp twice a year, one in May and one in September, and we've been working with them for probably 25 years. It's a great group. If anybody knows the local park and rec, Angie Lowe over there does a great job. She's been bringing those guys to us for a while. But we serve approximately between, depending on the year, but about 35 to 40 different organizations that serve people with disabilities. So that's kind of what our off season looks like. Our summertime program, again, our busiest time, which we're kind of gearing up for, is where we'll do week-long camps. And those camps will go from campers check in on Sunday, and then they'll go home Friday morning after breakfast. So it's a week-long residential overnight camp. And we do all of the camper care. So there's probably a handful of camps left in the country that still use that format to where the staff does everything. A lot of camps, you have to bring your own attendant, or you have to bring your own volunteer, your family member, which is how we do some of our weekend camps. But for the summer, it's all ASCCA staff. We provide the nursing, we provide the camp counselors who do the physical care for their activities of daily living. We provide med passers for all the different prescription meds. And then we provide all the programming, meals, and the lodging. So everything's taken care of by ASCCA staff during the summertime. But that program is I can't even put into words how amazing it is to get to watch that when you see somebody, go tubing for the first time, or you see somebody go down a water slide, or when you see somebody, how many people in their 80s are going to go down a water slide? I've seen it at camp. Like I said, our oldest camper was 87. He was still tubing and riding zip lines and doing all those things. And so it's pretty amazing to see that and the reaction that you get from those campers. And then the flip side of that I really didn't realize when I first started working at camp is the staff itself. I mean, obviously, I know we have a great staff, and our mission and everything is focused on the campers. But over the years, maybe I've gotten older and I'm a father, and my children have both worked at camp when they were in college. And it kind of gave me a completely different perspective of how we're affecting those people too. I talk to a lot of friends and family, and they're kind of down on the youth today, and kids today don't get this, and they don't understand this. And I feel the complete opposite. The 60 college students that we have some of the best characteristics. I feel great about the direction our country's headed in when I get to see those people and the work that they do and how they put someone else's needs in front of their own personal needs. And it's pretty amazing to watch. And I've spoken to a lot of staff over the years that worked there in the 80s and 90s, and everybody says the same thing. They're like, it was the best summer of my life. And I don't take that lightly, but I can't tell you how many hundreds of times I've heard that statement from people just visiting camp who used to work there, or current staff. And I can't tell you how many times I've had staff come up to me and tell me, the reason why I got my first job, or the reason why I was able to get into my master's program, or whatever it is they're doing, is because Camp ASCCA was on my resume. So that's a pretty big responsibility as well. Like I said, I used to think it was just the campers, and I kind of had that weight on me as far as, making sure that we're doing the best that we possibly can for those people. But now I see it differently, that it's also the staff, and that every year that's 60 or so college students that we're changing their lives too. So it's more than just serving people with disabilities. And again, I'm very blessed to be a part of that. But if you would, I just want to show you a quick video that you can find on YouTube. We've got tons of videos if you ever want to watch some Camp ASCCA stuff. But this is just kind of a typical day at camp during the summertime.
Sun rises over the beautiful waters of Lake Martin. Friends old and new gather together to raise the flag, signaling another great day at Easter Seals Camp ASCCA. Camp ASCCA is Alabama's special camp for children and adults with disabilities. Set on 230 acres of the pristine waters of Lake Martin, the camp is fully accessible and offers many different programs for campers ages 6 and up. It's the most unique facility of its kind.
I have learned a lot from coming to this camp over the last 30 years. I have done struggle things that I would have never thought or would have been able to do.
There are a variety of different activities just waiting to be experienced by the campers. They can interact with animals at the demonstration farm, slide down the water slide, and go for a thrilling ride on the zip line.
Camp ASCCA has opened up a world of possibilities of fun. By the pictures that we've seen of all the fun stuff that she gets to do, I know she's having a blast. That really warms my heart.
To spend a week in the summer doing things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do is a real gift.
And maybe the question for us is, when do we get to go?
A quiet pontoon ride on Lake Martin is always enjoyable, as well as a dip in the swimming pool on a hot summer day. Horseback riding, archery, and the fishing pier are just a few of the other activities available to everyone.
Well, I think Hank and I would probably both agree the best qualities of Camp ASCCA that work here.
Every staff that they have here, staff member has been simply amazing. They're loving and caring and genuinely interested in our girls. And then, of course, just the amazing facilities, everything that they have here to offer the children. It's just been awesome.
From the CITs to the administrative staff, and it's just a very special group of people.
Camp ASCCA is staffed 24 hours with medical personnel, counselors, and program staff, all of who are prepared to care for campers with many types of disabilities. Each staff member goes through a full week of training so that when the campers arrive, they are fully ready for the summer.
They have dedicated counselors and staff that take care of them, and I know their needs are being met, so I can walk away knowing that they're well cared for, and they end up having so much fun and being able to be here and be a part of this community.
Campers have many opportunities to grow during their week here at camp. They are given the chance to learn new interests such as swimming and fishing, or how to express themselves through art. They also develop social skills while building new friendships.
Camp ASCCA has made it easier for Sam to be a little bit independent of us. Sam is a social butterfly. He really likes to socialize and meet new people. That makes it better because we realize that he's comfortable away from us, and that gives us a great deal of relaxation.
The counselors at Camp ASCCA have to earn their campers' trust. Campers learn the importance of working together, whether with their counselors or fellow campers. The camper to counselor ratio is usually 2 to 1. Counselors tend to the campers' every need. They are a truly unique group of individuals who choose to spend their summer helping others.
What I've really learned, I think, is that a relationship can be made with anyone. Like even people who you think, I could never relate to them. I could never understand what they're going through, so there's no way we could ever be friends. But then when you actually get in and you talk to them and you actually do develop that relationship, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've known this person my entire life.
Camp ASCCA is about recognizing the best qualities in everyone. It's about focusing on abilities, not disabilities.
There's no limitations. If she wants to do something, she can do horseback riding and archery and things that she would never do with us, that she is encouraged and supervised and it's safe. It's just been awesome to see on the pictures every week.
Every day at mealtime, achievement awards are given out for someone who may have never been recognized for an achievement before. The tears of joy say it all. Each year, Camp ASCCA provides over 5,000 camper days of service for children and adults with disabilities. Your support of our campership program makes it possible for those who need financial assistance to attend Camp ASCCA. Everybody deserves a chance to live life to the fullest, experience adventure, and make friends along the way.
The relationships I hold with campers and get home for the rest of my life. And I hope they will come to some plans. So that's some of our campers, some of our staff, some of the activities that we do. You can see, as mentioned, yeah, it's on beautiful Lake Martin. We have about 1.5 miles of shoreline, 236 acres. And as mentioned, Alabama Power donated that land to us. So with the purpose that that land has to be used to serve people with disabilities. So Camp ASCCA is not going anywhere. And like I said, we have such a great staff that's everybody's goal is that we're always moving forward. We're always trying to do better. We're trying to make each summer the best summer that we've ever had. So that's always the goal of our staff. You can see some of the different activities. I mean, it's top-notch stuff. I went to camps growing up. I was a Boy Scout. And when I came to Camp ASCCA, I was like, good grief. You know, I'll be honest, but my first time visiting, I did my internship there in college. I was thinking, okay, it's a camp for people with disabilities. They're probably doing a lot of arts and crafts and, you know, playing bingo. And it's like I could not have been more wrong or more naive or more ignorant. It's the complete opposite. We're doing everything that any other camp does. In fact, I'll say we're doing it better. And that's our goal, is that our campers deserve the best. And that's what we're going to give them. Our administrator, John Stevenson, and Jerry Bynum before him, that was always the thing, is that we need to be adding programs. We need to be renovating programs. We need to be renovating buildings and make everything better. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of donations and things like that. But again, that's what our campers deserve. We now have three zip lines. One of them that you saw in the video, there's an 800-foot zip line that we just added a couple of years ago that goes over the fishing pond. We do boat rides, we do tubing, we added the water slide. It's, as far as I know, it's the only accessible water slide that I've ever seen or heard of, because we can bring them up the hillside and push the wheelchairs up the hill rather than having to go upstairs or a ladder like you would at a normal water park. So we're just trying to do those things and provide the best for our campers. Having said all that,
I get asked the question a lot of times by people, you know, what's the camper, you know, what's their favorite activity? What's their favorite thing to do? And, you know, for me, I get to see on Fridays, checkout days, or can be kind of emotional in a good way. A lot of tears, you know, campers crying, because it's funny because some of them are crying on Sunday because mom or dad were leaving, and now on Friday they're crying because they got to go home. And that's pretty amazing transformation to watch happen in a week's time. But, you know, I tell people that they're not crying because they're going to miss that 800-foot zip line. They're not crying because they miss a canoe or archery range. It's socialization. That's the number one thing that Camp ASCCA does. We provide opportunities for recreation, and we create socialization opportunities to bring these people together with similar challenges, and they get to see that they're not alone in this world. They're not the only one that maybe has some of these challenges. And it just brings people together. You know, a lot of our campers maybe are limited. They're not going to the lake on the weekend and get to go tubing or do things like that. So for many of them, this is their first opportunity to do those things. But it's the social moments. It's the same thing if I ask the staff, you know, what was your favorite part of the summer? It's always something where there was a group of them together, you know, just cutting up and laughing and just being people, just being one of the guys, just being one of the girls, getting to go to a dance. You saw a little snippet there. We started a concert series probably 7 years ago, I think is when we started the concert series. And it's growing bigger and bigger every year. But we have an indoor stage that's in one of our old horse barns that we renovated. And it is a real concert. So our campers get the opportunity to go to a music concert experience, kind of a music festival that, again, many of them would never have that opportunity to do. And see real live bands that are legitimate bands. So we're always trying to add things. Just real quickly to thank Rotary and for what you guys have done. Rotary as an organization has been involved with Camp ASCCA since the very beginning, 50 years. I believe, I had my wife pull up the information, the Dothan Rotary Club, I believe the first involvement was 1983. So that's a long time. I was 13. so I wasn't at Camp ASCCA, but I appreciate what y'all were doing back then. And since that time, I believe that the Dothan Club has given over $79,000 to Camp ASCCA. So that really means a lot. Camp ASCCA would not be Camp ASCCA without Rotary. I know that y'all been part of our capital programs for the Rotary Dining Hall, our Oscar C. Dunn Rotary Environmental Center, the Lions Rotary Lodge, many campers sponsored from all over the state through camperships, different things like that. So Rotary, if you've never been to Camp ASCCA, we would love to have you come and visit. You can contact me anytime. We would love to set up a tour and get you guys out there. It wasn't too bad of a drive. It took me about 2 hours and 45 minutes. And on a beautiful day like this, it was kind of nice to get out of the office and just take a drive. So we'd love to organize that and kind of see where your money's been going. And I appreciate Bob, you know, kind of trying to get it back going. And you guys, I wasn't expecting that y'all were already doing that, and that you're doing the hat thing today. So that's pretty awesome that you're already doing things for Camp ASCCA, and appreciate that very much. Does anybody have any questions?
Our district governor.
Yes.
For next year, Steve Weaver I got an email this morning, so he's working with Dana right now, setting up a day for our district Rotary to visit Camp ASCCA.
Awesome.
And it's somewhere between June the 15th and June 30th.
That's
so as soon as they get it set up, then we'll send it out to all our members. But if you've never been to the camp, you leave there with a whole different feeling. It's wonderful. And for the parents that have children there, some of them express to us that is the only place that their children, and I'm sure you can expound on that more, that's the only time that they can be away from their children. They don't have anybody else to to keep their children, and that's their week. And y'all were in the process of building a facility for some parents to stay on campus. I
Yes.
don't know if that's come to
Yeah,
fruition
we
or
have
not.
it's called the Parent Campground, at Frith Landing is what we're calling the area. But we're building 5 cabins. They're kind of like, for lack of a better term, kind of like a little tiny house. But it's 5 cabins that parents can rent throughout the year, but specifically the purpose was during the summer. There's some campers that come to Camp ASCCA who do pretty well at our programs during the day, but maybe not so great at night. And night is kind of a group living experience, and they might be keeping the entire cabin up, which doesn't do well. We don't have a night shift. It's our same counselors doing the job. And so it provides an opportunity for a family like that to where the camper can spend the day with us and then sleep with mom and dad over at the cabin. It also provides, we have many campers that come from far away, from Dothan, from Mobile, from out of state. And some of those parents over the years, they've just been renting a hotel locally or something like that because they don't have to drive back and forth. And so it gives them an opportunity for a place to stay. And then the kind of the other group of parents that like to use it are ones that are just scared to death and they just want to be nearby. We don't let them interfere with the program. But if you knew how many texts or phone calls I get on Monday morning from parents that are first-time campers, how did you do last night? Is he sleeping okay? Does the counselor know this? Did he remember this? Did he do this? And so it just gives them an opportunity, and then I can just go over and talk to them and tell them and give them an evaluation of how that camper's doing. It's funny how parents go from being that parent to, like you said, the ones that have been coming for 20, 30, 40, and we literally have some campers that have been coming for 50 years. That I can barely get them to stay long enough during check-in because they're just like pushing them out of the car, like, yeah, y'all got it, because they trust us that much. So yeah, it's pretty funny how that changes over the years once we gain that trust.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Are you still doing the jingle jump?
Yes, that is, Dana is in charge of that as well.
We have not been invited in several years.
We would love to have you at our jingle jump. I would love for you to jump instead of me at the jingle jump. But the jingle jump is a huge fundraiser that we do. It's actually our biggest fundraiser that we do each year. I believe we raised about $60,000 last year. And we do it during our December camp weekend. So there's campers there. And a lot of clubs will get a group of people up to try to raise at least one camper ship to $1,250 or more. But you have to, it's kind of like a polar plunge. So you have to jump in the pool, the Camp ASCCA pool, and it's early mid-December, so it's not great. But the campers love to watch it, and most people dress up in costume, meaning like some sort of a Christmas type costume. I've seen Santa suits and reindeer and elves and everything else jumping in the pool. But it is cold water. All right, any other questions?
Hey, Matt?
Yes, sir.
I know you're involved in the road course and a lot of it. Can you tell us how they got started?
Yes, camp was actually one of the first camps to provide ropes courses, zip lines, things like that for people with disabilities. But it simply got started by a camper who'd been to camp, and she mentioned to the staff that she wanted to climb a tree, just like her brother does at home. I mean, how many of us have climbed a tree when you were a kid? And she wanted to be able to climb a tree, but she used a wheelchair, and so had never had that experience. So the staff at that time, this was 70s, 80s, and they developed a pulley system and built a platform up in the tree, and we called it a tree house. But we'd hoist the campers up, about 35 feet to the platform, a tree house, and give them the experience of what it's like to climb a tree. So that's pretty awesome. And the adventure program was actually my first introduction. Every staff member that works at camp, whether they're summer staff, full-time staff, they'll tell you that they had what we call an I get it moment. When you thought you understood what camp was, but then you really understood it. And for me, it was in my first year working on the ropes course, on the zip line, and we had a special ed class in for the day. And I was working on the top platform where you kind of ease them off the top and send them down the zip line. And young man comes up to me, gets to the top, camper makes it to the top, and he has autism, and he's nonverbal. And his face is just kind of blank. So I'm not sure, like, does he really want to do this? You know, he's not smiling, he's not responding to anything. I'm asking him questions. And he's just kind of standing there. So I go ahead and, hook him up, make sure he's safe. He sits down, and I'm kind of worried. I'm like, I don't know about sending this guy off. I don't know if he really wants to do it, because we're not going to force anybody to do anything. It's all challenged by choice. And so I went ahead and just kind of gave him a little nudge and eased him off the zip line. And as soon as he starts to go, he's screaming and yelling. I'm like, God, but he's moving away from me, so I can't see his face. And I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have seen him. And he's screaming and yelling and going. And I'm looking on the ground to his teacher that's down there. And I'm like, his name is Richard. I was like, is Richard okay? I said, is he okay? Is he all right? And she's crying. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? I was like, oh, we can't drop the ball here. And she kind of wipes away the tears, and she said, he's not screaming. She said, he's laughing. I was like, oh, she said, this was a high school group. She said, I've known him since kindergarten. She said, that's the second time I've ever seen him do that. And so now I'm up there and I'm crying and I'm wiping away the tears. And so I was, new to Camp ASCCA. I've been working there, just a few months, and I had that experience. And that's when I knew. I was like, okay, this is different. This is not just camp and having fun and recreation. I said, there's a lot more going on here. So that's what's hooked me, and I've been there 27 years since. So they're not going to get rid of me till I die or retire. So, but any other questions? Well, again, I know I'm never going to do my
Thank you, man. We have to go through the blood work. If you see how much I love coffee. Yes, I did. Thanks, man. Just to add two things to what Matt's covered. In February, this club received an email from someone local asking for information on Camp ASCCA. And I did not think, when we completed our correspondence, to ask the age of this person. Basically said, I have a friend with arthrogryposis, I believe it's the correct pronunciation, which is the contraction of joints. I believe you know what I'm talking about. And I took her information, I contacted Amber and put her in contact with Amber. And this individual said, well, if it works out, said I'll try to go as a volunteer if needed. And through the correspondence, this individual let me know that her friend will be able to go to camp this summer. And that was just fantastic. And like I said, I did not, when I first received it, I assumed it was a parent. But then when I read into it more, it's like my friend. That's what Camp ASCCA does. And if you've never been, I would encourage you to go and see what's available there. And on a more personal note, some of you may know my brother was involved in, was hit by a drunk driver about 15 years ago. And pretty much paralyzed a good bit, was doing pretty well. Because that's just who he is. When he left, when he was at Shepherd Center in Atlanta, this is where he went to get his water orientation. Whatever term that is, that's where they put him back into the water. He spent time at Camp ASCCA, so that's a little bit personal to me. It's a great program. Appreciate what you do. If you've never visited, you're in the area or need to make a special trip, it's worth visiting, certainly worth supporting. Certainly appreciate what this club does. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who participated in the program today. Helped put this together. I know we're running a little bit long. next week's program. Thank you, Joseph, for putting this together. We'll be in Hudson Alpha. It'll be a great, great lunch, great tour. If you will, let's all rise. Have the faith, say and do.
Is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial for all concerned?
See y'all next week. Bring friends.
Yeah, it's awesome.